Everyone, and welcome back to the RedBeard Outdoors podcast. I'm Jonathan, your host, and here at RedBeard Outdoors, we talk about faith, family, fitness, and the outdoors. And today is our special edition that we do every other Thursday throughout this year of 2024 of Why First Phorm Outdoors. There's so many companies out there. There's so many communities out there. There's so many supplement brands out there. And I want you, from my perspective, to know why I love First Phorm. And I talk about it in all the episodes that you've heard me talk about it on. But I want to bring people on, such as Leslie, that we have, our awesome guest today, to explain from their perspectives why they enjoy First Phorm Outdoors. Because it's not just about hunting. It's not just about maybe you're single and you enjoy the outdoors. It's not always about the family. It's not always about the things that I talk about. And so I bring these people on to share their perspective from their reasons why they enjoy the First Phorm Outdoors community. And hopefully you can come join us as well. So with that being said, we've got Leslie, and I'm going to butcher your last name. I'm pretty sure it's Valusek, right?
Close. Valusek.
Okay. Valusek.
That's how everyone
says
it, so
perfect.
It's okay.
So yeah. Okay. So we got Leslie Valusek, and we bring Leslie on because she loves the outdoors. She's been a part of the First Phorm Outdoors community for a little while, and just want to share from her perspective of, one, being a woman in the outdoors can be intimidating sometimes because there is a lot of overwhelmingly men-dominated sports in the outdoors. And so that can be a hurdle to get over. And of course, she's out there killing it. We were talking about how she loves everything from axis deer to the exotics because she's down there in Texas, where everything's pretty much an exotic. It looks like freaking Africa when you go down there sometimes. And then fishing, and now, of course, duck hunting that she's dove into here in the last couple of years. So, Leslie, for people that don't know who you are you in a nutshell?
Hi, I'm Leslie. I am a wife, a mother. I'm a online coach through First Phorm. I'm a huntress. I'm a fisherwoman. Pretty much.
Awesome. Okay, well, let me clarify something, because I actually just found something out recently that there's some women in the hunting industry that work for companies or have been hunting for decades that absolutely, and I didn't realize this, is kind of like the word influencer for people that are, in any kind of industry. They don't like that word. These women were like, I don't really like the word huntress, because there's some women that have taken it in a whole nother direction, just like there's dudes that take hunter in a whole nother direction. And so I want to clarify, Leslie is not one of those bad examples of huntresses. She loves hunting and actually gets out there and gets it done. Doesn't just go out and do the pay to play stuff and whatever else you may be thinking of huntress when that first comes to mind. Leslie lives the lifestyle and absolutely loves it. I love that you mentioned wife, mother, and then of course the things that you enjoy doing as well. So let us know a little bit more about that adventure. So what are some things that you enjoy most getting outdoors in Texas? It can be hot. I don't know what part of Texas you're in. I think you said Houston, so I don't think it's as humid as like southern Texas or by the Gulf, but
it's hot.
It is.
It is hot.
So what do you do to enjoy the outdoors in Texas? Because everything down there wants to bite, stick you, poke you, or and there's not a lot of public land out there. So what do you do in Texas to get outside and enjoy the outdoors?
We're lucky enough, we bought my husband's grandparents' house, and they have like a 10-acre pond, or lake. I don't know. Some people call it lake. I call it a pond. But and we actually have some whistlers. That's a type of duck. We call it squealers. Those have been, coming to the pond, and then in the fall when we have the ducks migrate, it's actually been pretty cool to be able to see the ducks. So we usually go out to the pond, and we have catfish and bass, and we'll go over there and we'll just hunt, or we'll fish or walk around our pond. Honestly, I can't stand being inside too long. I start to get a headache. So it's like my mind and my body craves being outside. So, but I've always enjoyed being just outside in general, whether it was before, hunting and stuff, it was sports. And I just, I think it's important for Duke, our son, just to grow up and be outside and, die in the heat with us. It's okay. Just keep you hydrated. But blank.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love that. And I do like hearing these different perspectives of people that are in different states, because I'm blessed here in Utah to have a lot of public land. And then I know Texas is almost the exact opposite. I think there's like 99% of Texas is private land.
Yeah.
And so it's cool that you guys have such a big pond that you can go out there and watch the ducks. And do you guys stock the pond at all, or do you have fish?
His grandparents put catfish in there a long time ago, and bass. He could probably tell you what's on there, but I think those are what are mainly in there. And there's some really big catfish in there. At one time, I think when I was pregnant with Duke, I caught, I want to say, an almost 30-pound catfish, but I could probably be wrong. Wow. It was big. That's big.
That's a tank.
Yeah, but
yeah, no,
that's in awesome. Order for us to hunt, we have to find like people that have hunting leases and stuff like that. And my husband Dylan is real good at finding. There's a will, there's a way. He will find a way for us to go hunt and shoot some deer. Not last year, but I think the year before, I shot a nilgai, and he just happened to find it on Facebook, and we just drove down to, I don't know if you know where the King Ranch is at in Texas. It's like, we just drove close to there and went and shot a nilgai.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people know about the King Ranch, and if you don't know about the King Ranch, you should definitely go and listen. There's a guy, I can't remember his name. He's been on a couple podcasts recently. He's like the Prince of Poaching or something like that.
Isn't that a book?
I can't remember what his name. Yeah, something like that. But he's been on a couple podcasts where he was talking about how he's older now, but he used to go and poach animals off the King Ranch all the time and almost make a game out of it. And he was actually really good at it. So, that's kind of where I first heard about the King Ranch. And then I did some more research into it, and it's a pretty big ranch, and there's a lot of good species on there. So I'm sure every once in a while some animals escape off of that ranch and go spread the DNA elsewhere. But a nilgai, that's pretty cool. Those are pretty awesome animals. Is that so? I've heard that's really good eating. Did you guys obviously take it home and use it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
have the hide right behind that you,
compared to whitetail.
It's the hide.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're beautiful.
That's
actually.
Awesome.
They're huge. At night they look like a cow to me. So that was a little hard shooting that at night.
Yeah. No, I agree. What would you say? Well, before we get into all that, the hunting and everything, I want to ask you, what is the reason why you wanted to become a trainer with First Phorm? Because you're an online trainer, a coach with First Phorm. Were you a trainer before you came across First Phorm? How long have you been a part of the First Phorm community, or even using supplements from First Phorm? How long has that been for you?
It's been probably about 3 years, because I started right after I had our son. It was like 3 months after I had him. I was just ready to get back into shape. I always wanted to be a fitness trainer. I had tried it and failed and then gave up. And that's what I love about First Phorm. It was just, they care about you, and they don't, they push you to be the best version of yourself. And that has just changed our lives tremendously. My husband and I's, like, for the best. And, we think way different than we used to. And I think that's why, First Phorm is just awesome. But the first Phorm Outdoors, I love it. I love being a part of the community. I love seeing like your stuff, Clint, Jake's. I love seeing everyone post like their hunting, or even if it's not hunting, a lot of people post their workouts, or just everyone being a community, a positive community, and no one's bashing anyone. No one, there's no judgment. And honestly, I think with just the world that we're in, that's why it's just a great community to be a part of. You can go in and you can ask people questions about just anything, and someone on there is going to know and is going to know how to help you. And, you don't have to worry about, don't want to ask this question because someone might judge me. No one's going to judge you. And honestly, that's like the best thing ever. Can't find anything better than that.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. It's something that it's real interesting. It really is similar to a family dynamic, at least a healthy family dynamic, where you can tease each other, you can joke around with each other, but there's no malintent behind it. It's not like other places on social media or online where you've got those keyboard warriors or whatever you want to call them that feel like they have the Monday quarterbacking from the chair or whatever, all of that. You don't have that in that group.
Right.
There's people that will tease you relentlessly or mess around with you, but it's more of a sibling kind of deal where in the end it's like, I'm gonna beat your tail on the court, but I'm gonna lift you up afterwards and say, here's how we get better, instead of like tearing you down in personal attacks and things like that. That's not how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And also, most people in there know how to read the room, and some people can't handle that kind of teasing, and so you don't get that. So it just depends on the type of personality you have. But either way, there's a spot for everyone in there, and it's not just. I want to reiterate to people, it's not all about hunting and fishing. There's people in there that love mountain biking. There's people that just enjoy hiking or through hiking or camping, or there's so many different things that are involved in the first Phorm Outdoors community. And that's a big reason, for example, why this year we didn't have any booths at Total Archery Challenge, because we didn't want people to just say, oh, they're only focused on archery, even though that's a big passion of mine. That's a big passion of Jake's and a lot of people at First Phorm Outdoors headquarters. It's not the only thing that's involved in the community. We've put on, bass fishing tournaments at this point. We've gone and done, there's multiple community hikes that happen. There's one coming up here in Utah that unfortunately lines up this same weekend with opening day for archery hunt. So I won't be going to it because I'm going to be taking my son out archery hunting for mule deer. But all of that to be said, there's something for everyone out there. And so don't feel like if you're not a hunter or you're not a fisherman that you can't be a part of the community. You definitely should check out the Facebook group for that reason, that there's always going to be you're going to find your group there. There's even community chats that we've created so that if you're not into the nerdiness of going down the rabbit hole of archery or rifle or whatever it is, then you can find there's a mountain biking group in there. There's a hiking group in there that you can find and chat with people about gear or whatever it is that you nerd out about in the outdoors. So
anything outdoors.
With that, let's back up a little bit more, even more. So how did you even get into being introduced to the outdoors? Was it something that you grew up with? Was it something that an adult onset outdoors woman? How did this come to be for you?
I grew up being outdoors all like my whole life, but it was not hunting and fishing. It was running. It was soccer, and mainly running and soccer. We played outside. Back then my mom had a rule where we could have like an hour of TV or computer, you choose, and then the rest of the day you're outside. So we were outside all the time. And I loved it. I loved being outside. I didn't get into hunting and fishing until actually when I started dating my husband. We also we would go and shoot guns with my dad. Like, we would go to the gun range and just shoot handguns. But other than that, I didn't, I didn't do any of that, hunting and stuff until I went with my husband, or we were dating at the time. I went fishing with him and his dad. And I was like, I'll go, but I'm not fishing. I just wanted to lay on the boat and tan. Well, he's sneaky because he pretended he had to do something on the boat and was like, here, hold this rod. And I was like, okay. And then I caught a fish. And I was like, oh, he did this on purpose. And the next thing I know, I was hooked. And then we went.
That's awesome.
It was fishing on the boat. And then it was to wade fishing all the time, and loved wade fishing. And then it was fishing in a tournament, and then hunting. And that's, I mean, he definitely got me, because he grew up doing all of that, and he definitely got me into a world that I was missing. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. So it was, I mean, you were in the outdoors, growing up, but as far as, going out and actually participating in fishing and hunting, etc., it was mainly your boyfriend leading to your husband, getting you introduced into these things. So that's pretty cool. I like hearing stuff like that because, and it's actually, it's a lot more common that women get into the outdoors through a male partner of some sort. And what that seems to do is, and this is something that I just want to say for the men out there listening, just because she doesn't show interest like you, and she wants to, go tan on the boat while you're fishing, you can still find ways to, don't force your spouse or your girlfriend into it, but introduce it to them in a way where, be okay with, for example, with fishing, like my wife and I, just went to Alaska, and she did the fun part, what I would call the fun part. And I was okay with that, where I was constantly hooking the bait. If the hook fell off or was bitten off by a shark, then, I'd restring the line. Like, I was okay with doing all of that, all the, bleeding the fish and all of the stuff that you have to do when you're fishing, the messy part. I was great with that. I was actively involved in that. But the fun part of reeling in the fish, feeling the bites, the nibbles, when to set the hook, all of those things, I let her do. And so that sounds like your husband did very similar things, where he did all the grunt work and the dirty work to introduce you, and now you're all into it. And so those are some good tips for guys out there that, again, are either dating a woman that may not be interested in it per se. Don't force it. Provide a fun opportunity, and break down those barriers for the women in your life. And it's not true for every woman that you have to have a man to get into the outdoors, but it's a lot easier when you have someone you trust, whether that be another friend, a girlfriend, or women's group, whatever, something to break down that barrier of a male dominated area. It's definitely helpful. So I'm glad you had a good experience, because it definitely could have gone the other way, where he could have gotten, upset with you for not wanting to go fishing, and so, so that's good. I'm glad you had a good experience. So you moved into, so you got into the outdoors. Now you were talking about how you really enjoy duck hunting at this point. What is it that you enjoy so much about duck hunting that's become more of a passion at this point than any other type of hunting for you?
Honestly, it's the whole thing. It's whether you're getting ready for duck season, you're brushing in blinds, and then, training the dog, getting her ready, because we have a dog that's our duck dog. And honestly, I think that's one of my favorite part about hunting, is when she runs out there and gets the ducks, because it's like watching your child do something cool. And so just watching her run out there, go get the ducks and come back, it's just, I love it. Yeah, like I said, it's like watching your child do something awesome, and you're so proud of them. And then, it's like, I guess you could say it's kind of like a game. And then, they fly over and everyone's quiet for a second. And then within seconds, they're like, shoot them. And then everyone shoots, and just the vibe, I guess. Everyone's excited when we bring in ducks. But I do have to say, is every time, either it's with fishing or shooting deer and duck hunting, whenever we have the food right there, I do pray in my mind and I thank God for the food that we have, or that we just, I guess harvest or just got. But it's a fun environment, really. But and down here is a lot duck hunting is a lot different than up north, and I just learned that last year. And ours is done maybe in a couple hours, and up north they sit in the blind like all day, which is pretty cool too.
So with sitting in the blind all day, I want to ask about that because I'm not much of a duck hunter for the reason of I don't necessarily like the meat personally.
No one does.
I feel like it's a lot of work to clean. Yeah, exactly. And I've heard people that are like, look, if you prep it the right way, and I'm like, okay, I get that. I don't necessarily have the time to learn or the desire to learn. So personally, I don't. And on top of that, I know people that have tens of thousands of dollars invested into their duck setups and their blinds and their decoys and all this stuff. And I'm like, I'd rather spend that on a hunt personally. Yeah. That's me personally. So that's why I haven't gone down that rabbit hole. But I also have heard from people that I trust and appreciate their opinion, like Bert Soren. He talked about how that's a great way to get people introduced into hunting because you don't have to be quiet. You don't have to get up stupid early in the morning. You don't have to be freezing cold. You can have snacks. You can talk, like all of those things that you can do when you're in a blind and when you're duck hunting are great ways to get kids introduced or people that are getting into hunting for the first time. That can be a great way to introduce them. So I love all of those ideas. But I just don't have the time or financial budget to start a new hobby, right? And so, what is it about? I guess what's your favorite part about getting in the blind and hanging out with? Do you take your son Duke duck hunting with you?
We have once. We plan on doing more of that this year. He's not super quiet just yet. But we do plan on getting him out there a lot more now that he's only 3, so but
that's awesome. So let's see here. Basically with that, so it's you and your husband. Do you guys go out with a group of friends? Is it sometimes just you by yourself?
We're on a duck lease with some people, a group of actually people that we didn't know, and then all have became like good friends. It's a hunting lease up in like El Campo, which is 2 hours from our house. And we'll stay in the cabin over there, and everyone, will cook, and everyone hangs out, and then in the morning we get up. And it's game on, and then afterwards we all get together and we make breakfast together. So that part is real fun to me. I'm usually on 75 hard when we do that, my husband and I. So we're usually like, y'all cook breakfast, we're gonna go for a walk real quick or a run. But what was the question again? I forgot. I just started going.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. No, that makes sense. So, no, you're good. So that, that's cool. That you're out there, you're both participating in 75 hard. And that's an amazing, program, for anyone out there that doesn't know about that. I recommend that you go and look it up, with Andy Frisella. It's an awesome opportunity. But with sitting in the duck, I guess sitting in a blind, for deer hunting, it was hard for me this last year. It was my first time going whitetail hunting with a bow. And sitting in that tree stand, I was bored out of my mind. And in a lot of the places, I didn't have cell service, so I couldn't knock out work emails or, any of that kind of stuff. And so I was just kind of like twiddling my thumbs, listening to podcasts that I had downloaded and waiting for a deer to come in, which they did. There was some action and stuff, but with a duck blind, what do you do when you're sitting there? Like, what do you do that you enjoy about sitting in the blind?
I mean, and it's actually different than deer, because usually when you're setting up, you can already hear the ducks come to the pond, getting ready to eat. So they eat early in the morning. Usually right at when you can shoot, we're already shooting and they're coming in constantly, or sometimes they're not. We just kind of hang out, talk a little bit, but usually it's not that long. We're usually done by I think 9 or 10. Sometimes we get a full limit. If we have a limit, which is pretty easy with how many people that we have, I think we have like 7 people in the blind, then it's pretty easy to get your limit. But as to deer, no, you're kind of hanging out there all day.
Yeah, exactly. So with ducks, do you mount them? Like, what do you do outside of obviously the camaraderie of duck hunting and sitting in the blind, either with your spouse or however you have the setup? Outside of that, what do you do with the duck once you got it?
A lot of people will keep some people, depending on how nice the duck looks, if they don't have it, they'll keep it and they'll get it mounted, or we just get all the meat and then somebody takes it home. Because I mean, there are ways that you can make it good. Like we'll put it in jalapeno poppers, the duck meat, and it doesn't taste bad. I think it's just the way.
Yeah.
I think it's hard because not a lot of people know how to cook it. So, but we haven't found the best way yet, but so far the jalapeno poppers, it doesn't taste bad in there. But I think I saw a duck, it was a duck YouTube show that we will watch, and they did, oh man, I think it was like a wonton type thing, and they did the duck. I don't know, it was a way that they made it, and I was like, we need to save that. That's a good idea to try to make, but we'll see. I have to find the recipe.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, and a lot of people, you cook it basically medium rare, which kind of freaks people out. And there's a bunch of stuff that go into cooking duck. I haven't. There's brining, there's soaking it. I've heard you soak it in milk. I've heard many different things. But ducks they're really beautiful birds, and people really do go way down the rabbit hole on that and aim for specific ones. I grew up with mallards a lot out in North Carolina, and I love the male mallard, just that pattern, that beautiful green and purple kind of intertwined there with the black, and they're beautiful birds. But no, that's good to know that you don't just huck the meat and keep the feathers or keep the bird and get it mounted. So, I guess, what's your favorite bird? What's your favorite duck? Your species of duck that you I don't know, would prefer to have?
Oh, I mean, I do love the way the mallards look. I have yet to get a mallard yet. I think the pintails are pretty. Oh, that's what the wood ducks. Those are beautiful, and I have yet to get one, but my husband has one, and we put it in our son's room, and it's beautiful. If you haven't seen a wood duck, look it up. It is beautiful. The colors on it is just gorgeous. So that is definitely one to put on your to-do list if you want to get a duck.
Yeah. That's awesome. Is there any specific way to target ducks, or do you just whatever ends up coming into your pond?
Well, I'm still learning. I'm still learning on shooting because I'm usually a rifle hunter, or I was, and so the aiming fast is still a work in progress for me. But I don't know.
That's a good question. Then you'll have to go back to your husband and ask if he does specific things to target. Yeah, to target certain ducks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into kind of here your top 3 reasons why first Phorm Outdoors for you, when there's so many supplement companies out there, and there's a lot of great outdoors communities out there as well. Why did you gravitate towards first Phorm Outdoors? Give us your top 3 reasons.
Honestly, it was the people. I guess you could say the community. The supplements don't hurt my stomach. That's definitely a positive thing. I think, and it's just the friendship that you can find within the community. People that hunt down here or fish or outdoors, or people that even do workouts that you would have never known until you get in the community. Yeah. And then there's someone down the road that does the same thing as you. So it's just easy to build friendship with people.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's awesome. So, with that, I'll just kind of, what about the app?
The app? Oh.
Because you train through the app, right?
I do. I use the app. I coach through the app. It is easy to navigate and use. I think because everything that I need is right in that app. Like my workouts, even if I don't feel like doing one of the workouts that are in there, then I just screenshot my workout and then put it in there. And I love that it says dues paid whenever you finish the workout, because like I got it done. And then I also have a coach inside the app, which is Kaylee, and I love her because she just stays on me, and no excuses basically, and I love that. And then they have live streams in there that have like weekly stuff that people don't know a lot about within their fitness journey. So it's not overwhelming. I know that from when I first started, it was overwhelming, not knowing how to start, where to begin. And that's what I love about the app, because then you have that coach that can help you, and you're not paying, I don't know how much it is for like a trainer, and then, them building you a nutrition app. It's like, more money, when $13 a month, you have a coach right there that can help you with everything. And you ask them, you can annoy them with all the questions that you want, and they won't get mad. But
yeah, exactly. And so with the app, so I guess we'll break it down here. So your top 3, the quality of the supplement. So for people that don't know, they're processed at a level 4 facility, probably, and people that do know are probably sick and tired of me hearing or saying this, but that's fine. They're processed at a level 4 facility, which is the highest level that they have here as far as facilities that process supplements in the United States. And what that does, guys, everything is low temperature processed that needs to be low temperature processed, such as proteins, the greens, etc. And what Leslie's talking about there with not hurting her stomach is when the perfect analogy is just a chicken breast. If you take a chicken breast and you put it in the crock pot for 4 hours, or you put it on the grill for 4 hours, or I guess wouldn't even need for 4 hours. So the crock pot for 4 hours or the grill for 2 hours at the same temperature, which one's going to be the one that you want to eat? And so, obviously the crock pot chicken. And what happens is, if you overcook protein, it denatures the protein. And so what happens with a lot of other companies is they'll put in fillers to mask that flavor of burnt protein, because that's basically, in layman's terms, or dumbed down for me, it's what it is denatured protein is burnt protein, because they overcooked it, they flash cooked it, trying to crank out as much as possible in high volume, thus allowing them to lower the cost. And so what happens there is your gut doesn't recognize it. Some people, it doesn't affect them as bad, but other people, it really gives them bloats. It gives you, the protein farts or whatever you want to call them, and tons of issues that no one around you wants to deal with either. And it's something that First Phorm takes pride in, because the low temperature process takes longer, which is why the First Phorm protein is a little bit more than maybe something you get at Costco. Not a ton, but it is a little bit more. But you don't get those stomach issues. And a lot of the times, too, people will feel like whey is what's causing the issues on their stomach, and so they stop taking whey protein. I've had people that say that they're allergic to whey, even though they haven't been officially tested. They just stop taking whey protein. They try First Phorm protein, and it's fine on their stomach. So it's not the whey, it's the denatured, high-temperature processed protein that they've had before. So not saying that I'm a doctor. This is just an opinion and anecdotal evidence that I've had from people that I know had issues before and now do not have issues. Myself included, I've gone and tested this where I've done 6 to 7 protein shakes in a day, and I didn't have any issues afterwards. And so that's something that I can't say for any other company out there that I've had before. So highly recommend that. I appreciate you bringing that up, Leslie. And then, of course, the community. You guys have heard it 1,000 times over. Go join the First Phorm Outdoors community. Even if you're not buying supplements, we have a Facebook group. It's free to get entered. You answer a couple questions just so we get to know you and make sure you're not a bot trying to get into the group. And that's it. You're into the group. And then third, the app. Leslie is a coach on the app. So she goes in, she uses the app, but on top of that, she coaches. And like you mentioned, Leslie, it's something that I don't know anywhere in the world that you're going to find a dedicated coach that's going to give you help with your nutrition. It's going to talk you through your workouts, things like that, for less than $13 a month. I don't know anywhere else that you can do that. So that's what the First Phorm app offers, on top of live classes, on top of goal tracking, and so many other things that you can get in the app that you get for less than $13 a month. It's freaking insane. So definitely recommend that you try that. And if you want Leslie to be your coach, you can ask for Leslie to be your coach on the app, and I'm out here volunteering you. Maybe you don't have any more availability, but
always okay.
If you do,
that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help.
Yeah, there you go. So perfect. So if you're wanting someone like Leslie, that can coach you and help you, and you've heard her here, guys, like she is always up for learning and gaining new knowledge in the outdoors, and she's going through her own progress as well. All of those things are great opportunities for you to get Leslie as your coach in the app, and I would highly recommend it. So with that, those are your top 3 reasons right there. I appreciate that, Leslie. Is there anything else that you want to hit on before we wrap this up?
Actually, yes. With the community, like we said, it's not just hunting and fishing or hiking or whatever. A while back, we had a girl had competed in the High Rocks. I don't know if anybody knows that. I don't really know how to explain it. It's kind of like I guess between CrossFit or hybrid, or I don't know, the High Rocks competition. It's very hard. It has like 8 different things. Well, she had finished it, and I commented on it and was like, congratulations, that's awesome, way to go. And she had said, hey, you should do it, Leslie, you'd be good at it. Never in my life would I have even thought of doing the High Rocks competition. It looks hard, I don't want to do that. But with just the mindset that I have through 75 hard and with First Phorm, I was like, took me a second to think about it, and I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. And then I looked into it, and now I'm doing it in November. So you never know what you're going to do or what's going to come up on the First Phorm community. You have no idea. So.
Exactly. Yeah, there's everything from, again, if you're not into hunting and fishing, you're more than welcome in the group. There's way more than just those 2 things there. And I would highly recommend that people go and check it out. I'm going to leave the link down below where we can find Leslie, of course. And Leslie, go ahead and give a shout out where they can find you on Instagram.
It's just at Leslie oh, that's my old name. At Leslie Velusic. That's it. All together.
Perfect. So at Leslie Velusic, go check her out. I'll leave the link down below, guys, so you can find Leslie, see her progress, how she's gone from where she was a few years ago to where she is now. And if you're interested in the First Phorm community, I'm going to leave that link down below. Of course, we want you there, guys. Again, if you like the outdoors at all, which I don't know anyone who doesn't, you need to be in this group. It's over 6,000 members strong, and we're growing, and we want people there so that you can find your crowd, because any type of thing that you're getting into, whether it's something new, whether it's a health goal, whether it's maybe even a passion that you've got, but maybe you've moved to a new place and you lost your group of friends, whatever, you need to have a community behind you so you can continue your progress in whatever it is. And that First Phorm Outdoors community is there for you. So I'll leave the link for that down below. And of course, the First Phorm app, I'll leave the link down below. Once you get into the app, you can request Leslie as a coach, and we'll get you linked with Leslie so that she can make sure you're taken care of and coached properly there in the app. So with that being said, Leslie, I really appreciate your time today and you coming on and talking us through how you got introduced to the outdoors, and then of course hunting and fishing, and sharing that with your family and everything along those lines. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing that. And guys, like I always say, get out, live your life, and love it.